We're glad to have you back. President Bola Ahmed Tinubuis is not ignorant of the daunting task before his administration. In selecting his cabinet team, he did a detailed due diligence check on each of the ministers. This includes, but not limited to, their capacity, also the past experiences in related positions. Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment is one of the center ministries to boost development, of course, in the economy, and it's been headed by Mrs. Uzoka-Anite. That's Doris Uzoka-Anite. Nigerians, economists, experts, and the world would be depending and relying on our expertise to put us on the prosperous path. Joining me to look at this, he is the Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. He joins us live from Jos. Thank you so much, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadri.
Thank you for having me, Tolu, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, DG. Let's start with the impact of federal government policies so far on the manufacturing sector. I saw the World Bank visiting the minister and saying, bold steps, bold steps. Mr. Elumelu was with the president and said, yes, bold steps taken by the president. But you're in the field. You talk to all of these people in the industries and companies and all of that. Tell us what you're hearing with regards to the effect of all of this.
Okay, so I think what is commonly referred to as the bold steps taken has been the floating of the Naira rate. We've also had the removal of fuel subsidy, and then the executive orders that Mr. President signed. I think these three in particular have tended to give an indication of where the president is going and what he feels should change in the economic landscape. So yes, both steps have been taken, and the reactions have been mixed. While quite a number of people, including Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and most of its members, what we think is that yes, they are the right things to do, and there's no better time to do what is right. But then what needs to be done is to follow up, to be doing the right things, because just one right thing, just one right step does not get you to your destination. So you have to continue to do the right things. We have seen some obvious negative impact in terms of the performance of not only the manufacturing sector, but other segments of the economy, in terms of rising costs, in terms of difficulties in logistics, and quite a number of issues. But I believe that those are necessary developments following a reform, especially one that has come unanticipated by some. So, but what is needed now is for governments to follow up with measures that will address those concerns that have been raised, address those difficulties that have accompanied the policy, and also to ensure effective communication with the people so that everyone is aware of what government is doing, and to assure them that the negative impact will be short-lived, and show plans to ensure that that promise is kept. There should also be a reciprocity on the part of government. Government must also watch its cost. It must, if you are asking the citizen to tighten their belts, that things are difficult, this has to be reflected in the activities of government, in the lifestyle of government officials, and in addressing issues of public expenditure.
A good way to start this discussion. But global issues are affecting crude prices at the moment, and we see that flip-flop. Price of diesel in some places about 950 naira, almost 1,000 naira. Of course, price of fuel is also there being affected after subsidy removal. What is all of this? How will it affect the bottom line at the end of the day? Some have made projections before now, only to see all of these changes. How is it affecting the industry also at this time?
Yes, I mean, there has been global developments that has not helped our domestic economy. I think the one you mentioned is quite worrisome. One had expected that the increase in diesel, price of diesel, the increase in price of PMS will have a lessening. But what we have seen is that there's tightening situation around the world. We are seeing increased demand for the product, especially China's recent petrochemical activities. We have also seen cuts in terms of output, even from OPEC and OPEC Plus members. So you are seeing a situation where demand is shrinking, demand is rising and supply is shrinking. So there is generally an increase. I think it's projected to even get up to as high as $87 per barrel. So naturally, you will expect that Nigeria will reap a windfall, so to say. But at the same time, we also import diesel and petrol. So this is going to more or less take off the expected advantage we should have. And I think this calls for expedited government effort to ensure that the refineries that we have work, and also to ensure that government itself demonstrates enough support, enough confidence inspires enough confidence in the citizens, so that they will know that even though the whole world, not only Nigeria, is going through trying times in terms of escalating crisis, there is need for us to stay focused and to ensure that all the gains that are made from all these reforms, including the increase in price of sugar, is translated to what is commonly referred to as palliatives. But those palliatives will come in terms of strengthening the infrastructure base of the economy, such that people can freely do business and we can replace the economy. So these are trying times for us, and we expect that there may be no immediate reduction in all of this escalation. But like I said, we need to stay the course, and government has to lead from the front, as they say.
Well, let's get to set an agenda for the new minister. Of course, the Ministry of Trade, Investment, Industry, Trade and Investment would be in charge of policy issues, of course, trade facilitation, drive of government, issues around border business and trading and all of that. We see that a lot of decisions will be taken at this ministry. Now, what do you think, or what will be your advice? Because if I say there are quick wins, there might be no really quick wins. But if you think there are quick wins, what are the quick wins? And what do you think this minister should get on immediately as she gets to work?
Okay, I hope you can hear me. It's raining heavily.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Really my best to hear you.
I
think I got the message.
Okay.
Yes, I got the message. Yeah, so I think it's really very important for us to pay a lot of attention to what the minister is going to do, how she's going to hit the ground running. But I think we need to create a context around this kind of conversation. First, I think it's going to depend on what government really wants to achieve in terms of our industrial objectives. Because it is very important for us to even know what the government wants to do. It is easier for you to cast your expectations following what government has proposed in its mind to do. So there's need to know that. But from what we can see, President Tinubu has been very clear about promoting domestic production as against importation. And I think for the manufacturing sector, that is a good step in the right direction. So what it then means is that you deliberately remove those constraints that have continued to limit local production, because that is the only way you'll be able to achieve increased domestic production. Then there is, of course, there are quite a number of low-hanging fruit. For instance, there's this diaper policy that has remained on the table of the a Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment that would have tremendously improved the performance of that sector. And knowing how that sector can grow in volume, I think the Honorable Minister will do well to look at the DAPA's policy. There's also a subsisting policy, which is the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, which I believe the last administration didn't quite follow through. So I think it's a very ready document that the Honorable Minister may want to take a look at, and then engage the stakeholders that participated in crafting it. A man, for instance, actually donated, so to say, the blueprint for the accelerated development of manufacturing in Nigeria, which formed the major source for the NIRP. As a matter of fact, we have since reviewed that, and we now have a blueprint 2.0, which, of course, we have made available to the ministry. Even by the minister's pronouncement herself, she did mention that there was going to be a focus on export and SMI. I think this is the right thing to do, but the SMIs themselves have binding constraints that have limited their performance and their growth pathway. So I believe that the Honorable Minister will engage the relevant stakeholders in that sector. And also, more importantly, because these are low-hanging fruit, but there has to be the bigger picture, which remains the having an industrial policy that will guide the government's efforts in this regard. So I think we should work towards completing the conversations that we'll be having, the deliberations that we'll be having, about crafting an industrial policy that will govern government's efforts in terms of making us a competitive nation. Because we now have the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. I mean, the Honorable Minister should focus on ensuring that we have market access for goods that are made in Nigeria. There are quite a lot that she's got to do. I'm sure she's not oblivious of that, because everywhere I've seen her on the screen and from what she has said, she looks determined to make a difference. And I think this is the time, because we have always said that industrialization is a strategic choice that the government must make in terms of job creation, value addition, wealth creation, and even the overall well-being of the citizens of the nation.
When we look back and see some of the challenges you face as manufacturers and has affected the growth of that industry, FX and can you hear me, DG?
I think it's extremely difficult to hear you.
Yeah, the rain, right? DG, okay, let's just wrap up this interview by saying that what role would the private sector play in all of this?
What is the
role of the private sector?
Okay, so yeah, I think that in terms of engagement,
yes,
the private sector also has to brace up, to retool, for instance, and to review its process, such that we'll be able to match the activities of government, the efforts of government, the policies of government, with our own ingenuity, innovation, and with our own readiness to take advantage of all the policies, the incentives that we are having. I mean, one of the policies of government that has given us hope is that we are going to address the whole issue of multiple taxation and to have a fiscal policy that supports production. So I think that the private sector should partner with government. We should be ready at all times to stand in consultation with government, to stand in solidarity with government, so that those policies that are made will find expression in our activities. There are quite a number of conversations that have been going on in my association, for instance, as to how we can partner with the new dispensation to change the fortune of manufacturing. We actually look forward to growing manufacturing sector performance to between 20 to 25%. Our contribution to GDP will not remain around 10% and the rest of it. So we stand ready to engage governments to ensure that we are able to move the needle in that direction.
Interesting stuff. Digi, let me allow you go. We're able to make do of this interview. We're able to get the best of it. And I must thank you so much, Director General, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadri. Thank you so much. Have a safe flight back to Lagos.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.